Well, how's it going, Kingsman? Welcome back to another NTW3 battle. Hope you guys are all doing well. We have another clan battle today, guys. That's right, a 4v4. This one is going to be on Russia 6. Now, this is between the IZ and Hiller clans. They're going to be doing the Russian campaign 1812 cores. I do not have the points for the IZ side, but we do have the French cores, at least the points for them. So you actually have a Saxon, a 7-point Renier, I believe. You have a 8-point Victor. You have a 10-point Eugen, and then you have the 7-point Guard, the Imperial Guard. Now, of course, I know I call everybody, for the most part, Imperial Guard. It's not all Imperial Guard units. It's definitely got a decent amount of Imperial Guard units. Looks very nice. Oh, yeah. Also, hopefully... Ooh, actually, we have a cav engagement. Also, what I was going to say is hopefully my sound is okay. My speakers died, so I couldn't hear anything. However, I discovered my Blue Yeti microphone has a plugin that I can hear everything. And actually, it sounds better than my speaker. So hopefully, it sounds good for you guys too. Hopefully, there's no need to mess with anything. That's my hope. We'll see if that actually happens. But we do have a Russian force pushing out. Now, I got the names of the Russian generals. So you have a Duktarov, a Wittgenstein, Osterman, and Steinel. Don't know those points. Don't know who. I believe a Duktarov is a pretty high point, pretty powerful army on their side. I want to say Wittgenstein is 2. I can't remember if he's a Cav Corps, actually. I'm sure we'll find out when we look at the battle results. Smaller armies tend to be Cav Corps. We'll see. Does look like a lot of artillery from Victor is pushing up. Look at this infantry rolling down the road. You have artillery, more infantry pushing. Oh, so cinematic. So beautiful. Now you are starting to see a lot of cavalry on both sides. Both sides trying to scout out for the other. Can't get over how cinematic this looks. Starting off a battle strong with aesthetics. Oh, I even hear cavalry or a general maybe. Yep, there's the general, Victor. Got a lot of cavalry kind of setting up a screen. Now we do have the Imperial Guard having pushed up quite a lot here. Almost further than their allies have.
Taking the buildings up.
Here we go, the general, not Napoleon himself, but you know. This guy's troops love the Imperial Guard's flag. They have this 2-pointer and they're going to be holding it. Cavalry from Russia kind of surrounding them. Hopefully I don't keep coughing here. I'm still fighting whatever this sickness is that I got. Maybe it's COVID, you know? I had a bunch of coworkers that got COVID. Who knows? Maybe it is COVID. Maybe it'll finally be over. Alright, so you got the French setting up here. A lot of infantry. Artillery set up in the high ground. It looks like Russia has some light infantry that is going to push forward as well. Line infantry behind. Although Russia actually may be pulling back a little bit. Kind of a boggy looking area they're fighting in. Oh, we have a bit of a clash. Gasser Cheval fighting. Skirmishers pouring some volleys on those Russian dragoons. They're still going to get themselves into this fight. And
Our men are running, sir.
They break. Dragoons break 2 of them. Now more skirmishers going to fire. Taking down a lot of those dragoons. It'll not be enough though. The Russian cavalry is causing quite a lot of chaos in the lines here. France does have some of their cavalry. They're trying to pull this Chevalier out, but they have some counterattacking Chevaliers from Eugen. They're going to fall back as well. Now we have some regular volleys over here between the French and Russian lines. Actually, more cavalry is engaging over on this side as well. France is just really getting hit. Those chasseurs cheval should do pretty good. There is some Russian cavalry going behind the lines. Guess I'd watch out for that. But here's an interesting thing. So you have Victor setting up, and then he has a reinforcing Eugen and Rainier pushing through this right flank. Cavalry set up, kind of matching the Russians' cavalry. This could be the point of quite a lot of close combat, some deadly combat. We'll see. It's going into the tree line here. Love it. Looks so good. Looks so beautiful. Probably really cold and miserable for these soldiers actually fighting. Artillery is waiting on the high ground. I'm assuming they're waiting to see. Rush set up the artillery. I hope the French set up their guns quickly. These guns are going to get sniped. Still a lot of cavalry from Victor. Well, a lot of cavalry from both the 7-pointer and the 8-pointer. Looks like we may have a bit of an engagement here. Here we go, the French charging in. Going for some skirmishers. Infantry though in support. This does not look too good for the French. Russia's just shooting them to pieces here. More and more Russians are pushing down the line. Ooh, Russia did... Oh my gosh, Russia's doing an excellent job. Look at all this French cavalry that is just getting shot in the face. That was a disastrous charge, I would say. It was definitely not too well placed. There was too much Russian infantry in the way. And we'll see, France did use that as a distraction, though, to push the infantry a lot closer to the Russian line. You see some of their French units are getting volleys point blank almost on this Russian line. Alright guys, we're back. Sorry, it crashed right as we were getting into the action. Who knows what I did. But yeah, we're back. With the French pushing up their infantry, cavalry's pulling back. However, Russia does have quite a bit of infantry reinforcing their left flank, making this a little bit more of a serious defense here. Obviously, France has quite a lot of troops with Eugen and Rainier pushing down the road to reinforce against this Russian push, so they have troops in the right spot. Now we are also seeing another Russian army pushing across the river, more for the French center. Now the Imperial Guard are on the far left flank for the French, which is the right flank for Russia, but they aren't really moving too much yet. Of course, they can shift towards this center as needed, and they may be needed to shift over there because France is in consolidation here. You can see quite a lot of concentration from Russia on this right flank. Look at all the Russian infantry and cavalry pushing across here. That's concerning. Now, of course, Victor, he is reacting. It looks like Eugen's actually pushing troops maybe across the river. Now, that could be a nice buffer. If he gets on the flank, he can get some nice flanking fire, force back the Russian offensive. But we'll see. We'll see how time reacts to this. Now, we do see Russia does have some cavalry in the back, so France trying to mirror it, make sure to snipe a general or some artillery. Russia has more infantry that is starting to push into the fight. Such a thick, foggy area here. Not a lot of artillery firing yet, but a lot of cavalry is shifting up. Russia has quite a bit of dragoons in this one area. It looks like the fighting's kind of slowed down. However, you can see, oh my goodness, look at this. Russia's pushing up very close to this French line. Surprisingly. Yeah, that's not going to go well for this Russian light infantry. Well, you can see the French rushing their troops to the right flank, trying to hold the line while they push up on the flank. Russia is shifting cavalry. Looks like they have artillery set up as well. Their cavalry's coming over to maybe try to counter the French push across the river. At the same time, being very aggressive, pushing up. I don't like this for Russia right now, guys. I think I don't like this. This does not look that good. We'll see, but I don't think France is going to get pushed out of this area. You see they have plenty of squarables here. Oh man, Russia's going to commit to this. Let's see if they can catch the French out. Nope. Squares get formed, and that's one brutal attack that is not going to do too well. Oh man, they even have their carabiniers here. Oh, Russia's used that to then charge in for the bayonet. It does break here, pushing up more infantry. Looks like Russia is actually committing to this engagement. I think these guys are actually shooting over their allies' heads. Like, perfect placement, maybe. Either way, Russia does seem to be falling back here as a withering fire from France is making it a bloody affair. It's like bayonet charge was thrown, but as you can see by the dead Russians, it did not go well for them. We have some skirmishers who have pushed up in front on this Imperial army, as France is starting to take maybe an attack on the flank. Oh yeah, look at this. Russia pushing through the tree line. The center's still quite quiet. I guess we will see as time develops, but maybe the Russians aren't going to concentrate on an area where the French aren't. Still curious. So you see they do shift. They have shifted some troops more towards the center. They are... This will be interesting. This will be an interesting fight here. If the Russians do push it. Right now, Russia is actually falling back. France has managed to get troops across, establish a foothold on this flank. You see the Russians are shifting troops, mostly cavalry, I should say. Maybe they're going to try to go for a cav-on-cav engagement, but the French are keeping their troops close to their cavalry. Oh, actually looks like finally there's going to be a snipe of this Gazare. Now the Russians do have artillery set up in the front line. It's going to start shredding some holes in the French. More artillery set up right here. Man, they got a lot of artillery set up in defensive positions. Let's see what... I'm really curious. I think France is going to maybe try to push around the flank here. Maybe outflank the Russian position. Whatever Russian attack was being made, looks like it is kind of slowed just a little bit. And in fact, it looks like France may be actually pushing up in this area. Maybe they're going to feel out the Russian defenses because Russia seems to be shifting back from this position. I think Russia was hoping to get a bit more of an engagement with the cavalry and infantry, but it was a good call on their part. Once they saw how well the French were established, they pulled back immediately. Not a bad choice at all. What are some grenadiers doing way over here on the flank? What is this? They're getting some shots and killing some cavalry here. Saxon troops are advancing. Artillery is definitely going to be a bit of a plague for this French army. See what these guys are facing. Not a whole lot of resistance at this point. Fire's a little lighter. They've taken most of what this kind of, I mean, it looks like a forest, but kind of like a bog almost. Like a marshy terrain. We're having a bit more of a Russian push here. Artillery charging, getting charged. They're not going to make it in time. Well-placed cav charge by Russia. Countercharged by the Chevaliers, but the artillery piece is dead. Looks like the Imperial Guard's actually pushing up on the Russian position now, trying to put pressure on them as Russia's kind of concentrated almost exclusively on this flank. So maybe the Imperial Guard can make a kind of a push.
Our general is under
Maybe start threatening the flank, forcing valuable reinforcements that could be used on this flank to shift over to deal with them. And then the two-pronged attack. Imperial Guard charging in on the left. And then you have Eugen and Renier pushing on the right. Then, of course, you have Victor who could push in the center. If they coordinate it right, they actually might be able to crush this Russian force. Light infantry, some skirmishers who are kind of pushing up a little closer to the Russian line. A lot of light infantry on this flank, though. So, I mean, Russia has some decent light infantry guys. These guys are going to be able to reply quite well to the Imperial infantry, but there's obviously not a lot of them. Russia actually has a nice attacking line here against Victor. Victor shifting some troops to the flank. They don't have the artillery position to kind of defend their lines anymore. Oh, you can hear the regular volleys now. And these trees will be riddled with bullets at the end of this engagement. Oh, that's it. That's the end of the line. France seems totally content to take this fight, too. More artillery is actually shifting up. They have a lot of reserve artillery. Horse artillery sitting in the way back. I said they have this 6-pounder that probably is going to sit and park. Oh, the guns came back. Oh, that's an insult in the Russians' face. Oh, we have a cav engagement here. Some skirmishers in support. And France manages to win that. Oh. We have a bit of a engagement here. Probably going for the massive gun battery setting up from Russia. Russia's doing a lot better. This artillery, let's see. No, they're going to get countercharged here. But France is not doing well when it comes to the cav engagement, guys. But you can see the Russians have been pushed back across the river. France controls this side of the bank. That's going to be huge for them. Now, I do believe it does look like the Russians are falling back on this left side, pulling back. Maybe this line will disengage as well, and with the artillery here, they could pull their line to here and let the French push across, let the artillery get some shots on some pretty level ground. This is very level ground for artillery to be able to shoot. Maybe that's what they want. So you look here, there's some like little slopes here. I mean, even here, it's actually, the French could push guns up to this road and fire across as well. A lot of infantry in reserve here, just kind of poised to attack, but not attacking yet. Still that fight raging in the grove of trees. This flank still hotly engaged. You can see this light infantry contingent doing quite well for itself. And the French are actually falling back a little bit. They want their skirmishers to have good, you know, some good kills. They want to keep them a little further back. Russian cavalry shifting over here. So yeah, this Imperial Guard army, they may want to, they're probably going to pull back. They don't want to take a Russian dragoon and infantry charge. They're kind of isolated, their units. Yeah, they're gonna pull back. You can see using the terrain maybe, but Russia is gonna start trying to press this engagement. He has dragoons who are pushing across. And you can bet that these square bulls are gonna shift as quickly as they can over to this flank. It may not be enough. They're gonna get tied down with so much Russian cavalry, and the infantry may be able to get a bayonet charge across. As, man, that's a lot of Russian cavalry starting to focus. There's definitely a very focused attack being put into the works by Russia. But with the infantry so close to the cavalry, Russia may not want to take this engagement yet. Obviously, they will at some point probably be trying to press that engagement. In this area, ooh, artillery is probably just focusing this infantry down one at a time. Yep, you can see they're going to focus this next unit down. Russia may want to pull back from that engagement for a little bit at least. Or Russians going straight in for this Imperial Army. Cavalry charging in. Square formed. And Russia does break. The Imperial Army, though, still pulling back, trying to go towards the town, using that as a little bit of their defensive lines here. Skirmishers may get charged here. Let's see if these trilliers react. Voltiers or trilliers. It's gonna be that hard, actually, for them to... Yeah, they're gonna form a square. I hope. Yep. Skirmishers will be saved. And the cavalry is going to help defend the flank with a square right there, though that's going to be a little tough for the Russian cavalry to be able to deal with. Now, Russia has pushed up, and actually, their left flank is being stared down by half of Victor's army. Oh, be some pretty nasty volleys from Victor's troops. More of the Victor army is shifting over towards the center. This is definitely where Russia's focusing their next attack. You see the Russian cavalry was beaten back by those squares from those Voltiers and Chilliers. Russia's got quite the attack moving forward, though. And there's not a lot here yet from France. But they can counterattack from that left flank as needed. And like I said, the tree line is somewhat held. We do have Chevaliers who are probably going to counter here. They will tie up this line. Now, I do not think they're going to win that fight. There's way too many units. But they are going to try to slow them down. Russia getting into melee with the French army. Victor taking a bayonet charge. He has more troops shifting up, but you can see the Russians are actually focusing down some of this French infantry, and they're taking some losses here. Casualties have been sustained so far. France is replying as quickly as they can. Both sides are very close. It's really a matter of morale at this point. But Russia does make a breakthrough here. However, Victor can throw in some more troops just in time. The 4th. Some Hessians. Another charge against the 2nd. The 2nd, what is this, a demi-brigade? Russia's really committing to this fight. Nice volleys here into the Russians' infantry as they charge in. It breaks one of them. We see some more Russian cavalry, though, throwing themselves into the fray. France, Victor pushing his troops up, trying to pull them back, get some volleys almost as close as possible without getting in a melee with Russia. More Russian cavalry, though, charging in. France does have some of their cavalry for a countercharge. The square did get formed. Dragoons are gonna probably go through a gap in the Russians' line, but Russia making a huge play here, breaking the initial defensive line for Victor. Now, Victor does have a reserve line set up. Let's see if they can start pouring in some volleys into the Russian attacking line. Artillery even set up. Maybe a canister will be fired. Dragoons from Eugen may have to be going cycling in and out. The Imperial Guard have started attacking, maybe trying to threaten the attack of Russia. This attack is getting slowed down by the 2nd.
Our men are running, sir.
And there we go. That gap was created, and the Dragoons from Russia charging in. Victor's line unable to form squares. You do have Eugen's reserve as well, though, shifting over, so maybe it's a race against time, guys. Who is going to make it over first? We have a push, though, by the 7-pointer. Saxony pushing across the river now, as Russia's obviously concentrated in this one area. Squares do get formed in the reserve line, but Victor's secondary line has been beaten back. Artillery is going to keep trying to, I'm assuming, put some canister in. Got a little bit of a flanking line here, trying to force back Russia's right or left flank. Here we go, though. Artillery is going to get charged here. It's maybe the end. They do canister, but it's not going to be enough. Unfortunately, not enough. The artillery is going to get charged. Russia has pushed significantly into the tree line. Imperial Guard still holding firm on this left flank. It is threatening the Russian push. Russians have to divert more troops to defend their flank, even as they're pushing forward at the same time. And these trees are kind of making it difficult to see what's happening here. But a lot of Russian Dragoons focused in the center. They haven't really paid too much attention over here. It looks like Russia is trying to delay the attack by Saxony. The rest of Victor and Eugen's troops are shifting over. We have some Dragoons. Where are they going? Square gets formed again. But infantry collapsing in as the Russian Dragoons hit it from the other side. And, oh man, Victor takes another heavy loss here. Excellent charging by the Russians. They are doing an excellent job using the cavalry and infantry. You can see the counterattack here in the tree line, almost entirely ignoring this Saxon army. You see the new battle line. Thankfully, Eugen's troops were in position. Russia's probably getting a little tired with this constant charging and melee. You have the Imperial Guard pulling back just a little bit. Maybe gonna use this buildings as kind of to break up the Russian defensive line. They seem very willing to take this fight. Now, even while Russia's pushing, they are having to deal with this Saxon army, and they do not have a lot to deal with it. They probably had a small little rear guard, So Rainier can push up aggressively, and they should be, as they are. They have a whole flank open for attack. And despite the initial Russian attack that seemed to do so well, Russia may be running out of steam here, and with the force slowing down their advances, especially when it comes to the bayonet melee charges, they may have a bit of trouble making contact with Eugene's line and actually getting another decisive melee charge. Now, they are starting to pull this left flank back just based on Rainier's flanking attack. And this rear guard, I guess this left flank defense, not looking too good at this point. Rainier looking to maybe enclose this entire flank. Now, if Eugene pushes in at the same time, maybe they can isolate and destroy an entire flank of the Russian army. Looks like Russia is pulling back, though. I mean, obviously, their whole flank is getting threatened as Eugene is pushing in with Rainier. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. I've said it several times. I just say Saxony, I guess, and not risk the wrath of people who really care how well I pronounce names. France seems to have quite a bit of troops left. Seem to be doing quite well for themselves still, despite Victor's initial losses. And the Imperial Guard held quite well here on the flank. He's shifting in more troops, looks like center. And France may see a counterattack coming their way. Or say they may see themselves going towards a counterattack. This pocket of Russian resistance actually looks a little troubling here. They're trying to get the troops out of here, but Saxony seems to be spreading up. And they seem to actually have gotten most of their troops out of there quite well. Oh, looks like we have some dragoons who are about to get charged here. Russia's still pulling back, but like I said, guys, momentum of battle is such that it seems to be shifting away from Russia's favor. It seems to be focusing a little bit more on France looking to be setting the rhythm of the battle. Probably won't go much past these guns. Oh, that's a canister just waiting, literally staring down the barrel of a cannon. Would not want to be one of these guys right now. Ooh, this is gonna hurt. Oh my gosh. That was disastrous. France is going to have to be careful here. They're going right into a gun battery. Russia, I think, is going to hold this line as best they can. Now, they are very much in need of manpower right now. These light infantry, unless they have a reserve line, which they have more troops, but they're shifting them over to kind of defend their left flank. Oh, they're taking so much of a beating with this canister. Now they have a lot of troops about to focus on this gun battery. We'll see if they break it. Ah, there it goes. We got cavalry going for the guns. See if they can break it. This may change everything for Russia. If they lose these guns, their line is going to be that much harder to hold. That looks like it was a successful attack. With the guns driven back, the Russians are going to have to maybe pull back, and France is going to have it just that much easier of an attack on this Russian line. Everywhere I'm seeing the Russians getting pushed back, just constantly getting pushed back. Look at that. It's almost like a painting. I've seen, like, you know, the Russian campaign paintings. It almost looks like it. You got like the pink blue sky, which shout out to Napoleon Total War for having some of the best skies you'll ever see. So realistic. Oh, we have some Saxon artillery making their way to the front. Looks like we have a reserve here on the flank. And Russia is pushing some troops into this defense. More artillery still in the fight. They're going to probably use this tree line. I would assume this tree line is going to be their defense. But like I said, they have the Imperial Guard kind of hovering on their flank. That's going to be a little bit miserable. Some more just resting up here. They're fresh and quite healthy. Here we go, the artillery is firing. I'm liking being able to see the strategic moves. It's not just like so crazy that I'm barely able to catch everything. I'm sure I missed some stuff, but we're being able to see, you know, in real time, kind of the strategy. So you can see the flank getting shifted over. You have Victor shifting his entire army to this right flank, probably for a punch through the Russians' left. You have Eugen holding the center with the Imperial Guard having a reserve, and the Imperial Guard kind of pushing a little bit on the flank as well, but keeping a reserve, at like 2 reserves actually. And this reserve, I wouldn't be surprised if it does at some point push over and smash through this Russian line. You can see Eugen, though, he is going to be the one who's standing his ground, making the enemy stay in position, but he will take some losses in that regard, and the canister is going to be brutal for his poor men. Alright guys, we're back. We once again crashed. Man, that's 2 times in a row. Kind of ridiculous. Unheard of, uncalled for. I'm just kidding. But I think I may have rewound just a little bit before. So we'll just go from there. Yeah. Still with the French making their attack. Eugen going right into the guns. I think we'd already done this part, but oh well. And you can see the canister is kind of tearing his line apart. I do believe he does fall back. Yeah, and then we have, of course, the Saxon line pushing across here, letting artillery start taking a little bit of the reins in this defense. Still have that reserve Russian line here. I don't know how big it is. That's only 4 troops, but I'm sure they're it when it comes to letting that reserve push forward here. There's still some horse guns. They can push forward here. These parts right here to start shooting in here. That probably work really well. Does look like Imperial Guard are making their mark here. Russia's being constantly pushed back still. It would not be fun to fight in these trees. I can't imagine it'd be easy to form up and march with all the trees in the way. Kind of difficult, I imagine. Russia's guns, though, are not silenced yet. They're definitely very much still a part of this line fight. You see the artillery's focusing on whatever Russian cavalry's back here. Obviously, that is quite the threat still for this French army, especially for the 7-pointer. He does have some squares, but not a lot of squares. He's having to kind of strategically place them with his lines, within his lines, just in case the Russians do try rolling in, because they could easily break half his army if he's not careful. Of course, he's being cautious with how he's deploying them for now. Looking at the overall scope of the battle, guys, it's looking pretty good for the French. They have a much more locked down. They have the 2-pointer. Obviously, there's a 4-pointer in the back. They have this LRLC technically that they can go and grab. And then there's a 4. Actually, well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh. Although, actually, this one is totally in the... Yeah, you can see even sending a troop over to take it. That's the time to start considering it. This battle may not come down to anything but a draw. Both sides may be too afraid to actually take a decisive attack and win or lose at this point.
Ordre bien reçu.
The general staff rolling back and forth between the lines. What should we do now? Alright, I do believe there is a... Okay, the artillery's kind of got a clear spot here. Oh, this poor light infantry is just getting focused down by the artillery. Look at this. We're gonna see another brutal shot. Ooh, it missed. Artillery from across the way. Look at this, a dueling artillery. Oh man, they are getting just shot to pieces here, but they are standing firm, holding the line. Alright, that's just brutal. That is absolutely brutal. I mean, a lot of them thankfully are getting up, but that's a 12-pounder. That's a pretty close range here. I feel like the French should either pull back a little bit more or attack this artillery emplacement. Imagine one of these guys. You're just told to stand here. Oh my gosh. These guys are not going to take another volley of artillery. They cannot take another volley. Anything happening? Nope. Here we go. Oh my gosh, these poor guys. They gotta break. No. Alright, well, Russia's kind of pushing out a little bit, but nothing's really happened at this point. They're gonna break. They have to break. They have to. They have to be so close. Oh, wow. Yep, now they are. Cavalry charges in. It's like the ultimate insult. It looks like Russia's actually going in with a huge cav charge here. Ooh.
Taking the buildings up.
Lancers going for the artillery piece. They do break. Another one going for the other artillery piece, though. The Gussaris go where the Lancers could not. And they get that artillery piece as well. Russia's going for a melee. And cavalry charging in as well. They're going to get some very good dragoons from France, though. Russia's going full on attack mode here. So they are charged in this center. The Imperial Guard are going to be reacting to this, I'm assuming, as France is actually starting to waver here. The Russian cavalry going ham on multiple areas. So this looks like this is the final commitment from Russia here. Now the squares do get formed. Russia has an assault column pushing forward here. The center they're attacking as well. This flank looking pretty good, actually. Russia has broken a lot of the French. Let's see how this attack goes, though. The reserves are being pulled forward. The artillery is going to start trying to pound on this enemy position. Square does get formed again. We do have the bayonet charge from Russia. Oh my goodness, look at this. Over here, Russia has made huge gains here. Now, the Imperial Guard has been called in, and despite the break in the center, things seem to be going okay there. Saxony's struggling a little bit here. A full-on melee where Russia is actually starting to win. Reserves are going to have to be called forward. They had to have some carabiniers. Russia is starting to break as well. 9 minutes remaining in this replay. More Russians charging in, giving them the cold steel. You can see some of the Reserve Life Fusion has been called in, is trying to hold fast. Let's see if the Imperial Guard can pull this off, guys. Let's see if their eliteness of morale or whatever. Oh, they have some really good grenadiers too. Let's see what they can do here. Keep checking in. Looks like horse artillery is pushing up here. Russia is, oh man, it's so close. But I think Russia's starting to break here with those fresh troops from Yuzhin being able to throw themselves into the fray. This is going to probably break this Russian offensive. As now Saxon can start pushing up. They do have their artillery piece. Got to still come on fire here. And we'll keep checking in. Looks like Russia's offensive has been broken up a little bit. We have an advance of those Trilliers and Voltigeurs. Winging around the flank. It's not going to go well. They're going to form a square. These are grenadiers here. Over here with the Russian offensive thrown back. Now they are outnumbered and they're going to probably be surrounded. If they went, I'll give props to Russia, guys. They went for that final offensive that if they did win, it would win them the game. If they had won in that engagement. But unfortunately, I think they just didn't have enough men at that point. They did what they could. They did what they could. And we do have cavalry and infantry going in for this flanking force. Square is formed by France. Nice, oh, nice counter volley here. Watch these Voltigeurs. Oh, beautifully done. And the square will protect them from Russian cavalry. And the counter attack here on the flank. Yeah, they're gonna get shot in the face. These brave Russians. Oh, rip. I do believe it is over. And so with that, I think Hitler will take the victory. Hitler being the clan. And excuse me. Oh man. Blanking on the other clan, I just said it earlier. Oh, the IZ, I apologize. The IZ clan will take a loss, however, it was still a hard-fought loss. And the kills will reflect, there's like a 200 difference on some of the kills for some of the sides, so it was really close, guys. 200 men is like 2 units. So, you know, that's insanely close when it comes down to it. Gonna try to run down that horse artillery. I mean, you still got a stubborn Russian defense here on this line, but with Victor and the Imperial Guard closing in on this Russian line from 2 sides, the cavalry charging in as well, the general getting routed. I do believe I have actually set this stigma for people to think that just because the general dies, it brings a debuff to morale. I actually don't think it's actually true. I think I saw somewhere someone saying it actually doesn't. It's just you don't have that morale anymore. So I apologize if I set that stigma and people think, oh no, my general died, now my army's just gonna break. It's like, I don't think that's actually how it works. Maybe if the general dies, it does. But just break the general will not cause that. You just lose that ability to morale. Now maybe when the general dies it does, because all these troops are now breaking and the general just died. Who knows? Who knows? Why'd you have to do that to him, man? He was already down. He was down already. That's one of the most brutal kill animations I've ever seen. They knock him down, then he stomps on his neck and then stabs him. It's like, oh man. Tell him how you really feel. So Grenadier is going in for the Russian defense. Here they come. Prepare yourselves! I feel like they're probably going to win this. It's Grenadiers after all. Won't go down without a fight, though. Oh, wow. This line's kind of wavering. Russia's using that to bolster his attack. He may actually break this line. Yeah, he's going to break it. Well executed by Russia. Oh, man. Oh, no. They got the drummer. Or whatever. Ooh, nice flanking charge. Cavalry may save that part of the flank. But you have a victorious French army over here rolling back the flank. And Saxony still has their right flank retained. Beautiful. Flash of the muskets and the fire. The smoke. The return. Ooh, what? Oh, wow. Cavaliers charge. Oh, man, they broke. Ooh, they don't form square in time. Ooh, but also it was a bad charge by Russia. Honestly, they weren't paying attention to this side. The French were not paying attention to this side. They do form a square. That should help support. And this one brave unit, man, they're really holding out as best they can in this house. Oh, wow. There's no time left, so it's going to end here. However, LOC victory for Hiller. You can see, I don't know who this was. Actually, let me see. I think it's the Imperial Guard. Yeah, it's the Imperial Guard who was played... Well, we can pull up the results. Here we go, guys. So we have on the Imperial side, you have Wayne 9. He got 957 for the kills. He was playing as the Saxony. You have Heine, I don't know. Inni? He got 1090 for the kills. I believe he's playing Victor. You have Rambo playing as Yujin. He got 738 for the kills. And then Met. I'm not sure who he was playing as. Maybe he was playing as the Imperial Guard, I'm assuming. Yeah, he's probably playing Imperial Guard. 785 for the kills. On the other side, Melkor got 1061. Bogdan 564, Chain 972, and Lotus 545. Now you can see here, guys, The two on the French side, that got 700, 700. You compare those with the 500 and 500. So I said like 200 so kill difference. However, the other two armies, 1,061 and then 1,090 matched up pretty well. And then the 972 and 957. So truly the only difference is like about 400 or so kills. So both sides kind of dished out a lot of damage to the other. Now there's definitely a numerical advantage. The French had a lot more forces on the field than the Russians did. And that may have been all it was, because Russia had some very good attacks going for them. I think they just ran out of men. They just didn't have the manpower. And France took some losses, but they were able to react to those losses and throw their massive reserves in again, and it still worked out for them. So in the end, definitely a victory for Hitler, and they played well. They took some very good armies, and the composition of the armies, I think, is a huge part of what really helped them hold fast. But of course, they had some strategy. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to discredit their skill of playing. Both sides played very well. Really, really fun match to watch. And yeah, that'll be it, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. Appreciate the support as always, guys. Until next time, you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. And as always, I will catch you all in another video.